All right, welcome back. Well, yes, we do have His Excellency Dave Umahi, Chairman of Southeast Governors Forum and Governor of Ebonyi State, joining us on the program today. Good morning, Your Excellency. Thank you for joining us on the program today. Now, yeah, for the umpteenth time, the forum has spoken about security in the Southeast. Yet, you have some of these matters just, it just seems to not go away. Why does it appear intractable addressing the challenges concerning security in the Southeast?
Well, I don't think that the security of Southeast is totally different from what is happening in other places in Nigeria. But in a way, I don't think it's impossible to address the challenges. It's a bit complicated.
So does the forum understand the complications and how are they addressing it?
Yeah, the first is the psyche of our people. Over time, there have been these issues of marginalization, the region not being treated equally with, other regions. And then, some people now decided to capitalize on that. At the initial time, it was an issue of, we have been marginalized. And then a lot of people keyed into that. Then along the line, it developed into violence. And then later, the same agitation has been hijacked, by, criminals, bandits and kidnappers. So that's why I say it's a bit complicated.
I can ask you, Your Excellency, who are the people that Southeast governors have been able to identify as behind these heinous acts? You have referenced the fact that they are bandits and terrorists and all of that, and some would say that's escapist. It's only fair to just say, okay, those are the people that have been fomenting this trouble all over the nation. But speaking specifically for the Southeast, who are the people that are behind these heinous acts, and what could one say is the reason? What do they want?
Well, you see, at the beginning where we have the IPOP saying the agitation, they're agitating for the creation of Biafra, and their reason is that, we are being marginalized. And then a lot of people kidding. If anybody has differences, with the center, the person becomes a supporter of IPOP. If you sort anything, at the federal level, and you fail to get it, you become a supporter of IPOP. Those in diaspora that went for greener pastures and they fail to, get such, they will become very bitter with the Nigerian society. And so the followers, kept, growing. And then the issue of herdsmen came up. And there were a couple of killings in Southeast. And the people were a bit helpless and felt the governors were not protecting them. But you see, the governors were protecting them. But the governors, swore oath under the Constitution. And we're doing a lot of things that we're not going to be saying in public. But we did quite a lot to ensure that, that there is peace between the herdsmen and, our farmers. But that's not the way some people that were aggrieved wanted us to go. But that's the way we should go. If you recall what is happening elsewhere between the herdsmen and the farmers, you will see that the governors of Southeast really did well. So then came up the IPOP with ESN, which is the militant aspect of the IPOP. And then they started to issue orders of threats. If you do this, we will do this, and all kind of stuff. And so along the line, the whole exercise is being hijacked. In Southeast, you no longer have kidnappers, cultists. Everyone that, does one criminality or the other claims to be IPOP. And also, some politicians, from what we learned, also capitalized on that and began to also import killers from outside Southeast, to advance their political interests, like what we are seeing in Anambra State from the accounts of yesterday. I don't have details. And so those are, the situations we found ourselves.
All right, but Your Excellency, there are those who are of the opinion that the Southeast governors actually have to take a huge part of responsibility as to how this has festered, because they think when this was at what they described as the elementary stage, that the authorities there could have seen these loopholes before it then graduated to the directive to sit at home, the formation of certain security networks up until when politicians now started importing people to come into those areas and begin to carry out some of these things. So they thought what the governors are doing now, they should have done a long time ago.
But I don't know what the governors of Southeast are doing now that they didn't do before. You see, some uninformed elements, felt that the only way to solve the problem between us and herdsmen, was to ask them to leave Southeast. But that is very unnational, because our people also live in the north, they also live in the west. And so we had to mediate to ensure that we set up a kind of committees that involves these herdsmen and our farmers. And in many cases, we triumphed. But you must also know that most of these killer herdsmen came from outside. And we'll be shouting it at the national level and we'll be shouting it at the state level. So there's nothing we are doing now that we didn't do. But remember that the governors, the attempts they made, to also checkmate some of these things, because of the psyche of our people, being brainwashed, I can use that, believing that someone is fighting for them. We didn't really have the support of the masses because they have been indoctrinated, they have been misinformed. But now the situation is changing because they are beginning to say, look, if you are fighting for us, why are you killing us? Even if you are not the one killing us, by your words, by your broadcast, you've made ways for us to be killed. And we no longer will tolerate that.
You referenced the youth earlier, and even now that you have spoken, and it's a little bit fuddling, Your Excellency, that while these things are going, as you said earlier, all these killer herdsmen and all those things, they aren't happy, they aren't as strong anymore as these other issues that are from within the Southeast itself. It only begs one question as to how significantly, how strongly, how persuasively the leadership, the elite, the political class in the Southeast are carrying the people along in order for them to have a unity of purpose.
I don't understand what you're exactly driving at.
Okay, the point I'm trying to make, Your Excellency, the point I'm trying to make is, generally, much of the insecurity that is going on now, from what you have said, they are happening from within the Southeast by members of the Southeast. So I'm just wondering if there is anything the political class is doing, the elite in the Southeast is doing, to ensure a carry along such that everyone can sheath their swords and work for the peace and progress of the Southeast and Nigeria in general.
Yeah, about 2 months back, we had very extensive meeting, with our larger stakeholders in the Southeast and with Ohaneze, and we asked Ohaneze to drive, a number of committees, committee on security, committee on marginalization, committee on industrialization, committee on youth development, and they did. Just yesterday, they submitted their report to us, which we're going to escalate to our stakeholders to study, and then we now come up with, means and ways to implement them. But don't forget that the NSAS gave us also the opportunities in Southeast, and we have organized a number of our youths, in conferences, and then we have set up a number of empowerment programs, for the youths. On the issue of carrying the people along, we started our governors' meeting in Southeast, with calling the stakeholders to join us. I think of late other regions have emulated that. So we've done everything possible to carry everybody along, and the clergy, very important people in this project, because our people tend to believe them, when they mount the pulpits and talk to the people. So we've been carrying them along. But we are also talking to them that, let people set aside, personal differences, set aside, bitterness, if there are bitterness against the federal government, against the governors, against, one another, because these are part of what, is influencing, negative comments against, the governors or the federal government. These are the issues.
Well, definitely very big issues, because you also recall an interview conducted with Senator Baribe, which some of them made the headlines this morning, that there are more than 30 separatist groups in the Southeast. Do you agree with him?
Well, he's talking from the point of his information, but, as a governor, I don't see that. Yes, the separatist groups, we know of IPOP, we know of, MAZOP, but MAZOP, has never been violent, for sure, and they're approachable, and they tend to reason with us. But these other people, the IPOP, their command is never in the country. And every one of them stays out and then dishes out messages of bitterness and messages of threat and fear and killings. And they are not here with us to feel the pain. So these are just the two groups I can talk about. But I fear that if IPOP does not fails to stop and call their people to order and to stop these threats and the killings and all the stuff, that other groups will rise up to counter it. But there's no way Southeast will be grounded. There's no way Southeast will be sitting at home while other part of the country, will be doing businesses. And whereas we are the people that should actually be moving, because we earn our living by moving.
So how is it that those persons who you described as maybe fifth columnists, how are the people listening to them and not listening to the elected officials? We can't understand it.
Well, you've listened to their messages, and the messages that they dish out, they are not the kind of things that elected governors will implement. No elected governor, we come and say, this set of people, for so reason, they must leave Southeast. There are good people everywhere, there are bad people everywhere. And so when you play on the psyche of the people, when you play on the issue of marginalization, the people tend to, agree with them. They tend to, believe in them. But most people that are informed, like all our people in the North, they are not in support of them. All our people in the West, they are not in support of them. They may have issues of saying, look, we should be treated equally. We should be given opportunities like other regions. But to ask us to start killing ourselves or start killing our visitors, start killing those who have been with us for a very long time, they are not in support of that. The majority of our people are not in support of that. But criminality is criminality, and a criminal is a criminal, always looking for opportunity. And this is the fact. And why it tends to be as if they have support is because the only way bad will continue to thrive when good people keep quiet. Why are the good people keeping quiet? Because they're afraid of isolated killings, because they don't have the police, the security people staying in their houses. And so if they talk and talk publicly, these evil people will go and isolate them and kill them. And that's why it appears that you don't have a lot of voices condemning what they're doing.
So that then suggests that there's a failing or loophole on the part of the police authorities and even the governors, because governors are chief security officers of the state, to secure the lives of those people. So if that were the case, that's a big challenge that the governors and security and police have to address, isn't that?
You see, the point is that information is very powerful. And when you want to solve a problem, you don't create another one. For example, when this thing started happening in Imo State, and the governor of Imo State, Governor Hope, rose up to the challenges. It happened in Ebonyi State. I rose up to the challenge. It is the same people that started shouting and they labeled them unknown gunmen. People even suggested they were reported from us. I said, no, we are chief security officers, in our various states, and we understand what is happening. We know that it's our people that are killing our people. And they started killing, security men. They started burning houses. They started, stopping people from moving freely. And we started shouting, and they say, oh, we are importing security men to kill. And again, these policemen we are talking about, these people were killed in their duty post. These people were killed in their police, offices, and their police post, police offices burned, and they got demoralized. Our people didn't really rise up to condemn that. And don't forget also that security is the job of everybody. There's no way police or army or anybody can totally police Southeast. It is the willingness of the people that are risen now to say no, enough is enough, that we need to secure Southeast. And with their support, we are going to secure Southeast.
So are you now satisfied with the deployment of police and security agencies across the Southeast, your state inclusive?
Well, not at all. These are issues we want to also address with the security chiefs. The deployment is so lean, but I pity them very highly. Look at insecurity in the north also, in the west also. So the number of security men we have in this country is so poor. In Germany, I think every 6 people you see, 1 person is a security personnel. And that's why crime rate in Germany is very low. In New York, there are also a lot of crime happening there, but the truth remains that the moment this thing happens, the perpetrators are fished out and, to face the law. So 2 things: the deployment not enough, yes, but we do not blame the federal government because generally we have, very low number of security people in this country. It's also challenges of finances. And then you now think about the morals of the security people in Southeast. Their morale is just beginning to rise because the way the number of them were killed, just not quite good at all. We owe them apologies. We owe them, support. We owe them encouragement so that they can rise up again, to protect the people.
But how do you mean you don't blame the federal government? I thought they are the ones who appoint the IGP, who in turn appoints and reassigns commissioners of police across the states.
See, this issue of federal government, every one of us is a federal government. We all born together, for the interests of this nation. There is no way the federal government can address, all the challenges without the support and sacrifices of the people. I'm saying that if we should employ the number of police that we should have in this country to police them, the army, other security agencies, the economy of this country may not be able to carry it. And that's why we've been agitating for, state police to be less expensive because a number of issues like intelligence gathering, will be addressed and which will be less expensive. And so when I say I don't blame them, it's because of every sector of this, economy is begging for, attention. That's why I say I don't blame them.
Well, Your Excellency, on a lighter note, when you said everyone is federal government, I'm wondering, who then is state government? But the local government at that. But seriously, when that communique, that you delivered yesterday said that the Southeast governors will end the sit-at-home, the spate of sit-at-home that's been going on in the Southeast for a while, one wonders exactly how. And it's very important to find a way to carry the people along, to communicate with the people to the effect. So how will the state governments in the Southeast achieve putting an end to the sit-at-home?
Well, it's a process, and we are at that stage now. Before now, don't forget that we, in every state and of course every part of this country, we have armed robbers, we have kidnappers, we have cultists, and the state government, now talking about Southeast, been able to contain them. We didn't have this kind of killings. And so if you take it backwards to say, okay, when IPOP came, and IPOP started agitation. No country that wants or a part of, let me just put it that you can never get, a nation out of a nation by the kind of hate speeches, being dished out. And then from hate speeches to threats of killings and the actual killings and the information of, militant group, And so that's where we are, and the people now started to understand, say, look, if you are fighting to protect us, why are you killing us? Because we are the ones killing ourselves. Occasionally, people are imported from outside to do these killings, but majorly, like in my state, all the people that we have caught that did the killings, all came from Southeast, none came from outside. I'm talking in particular reference to my state. And so the people are beginning to understand. And if people understand, then we will be going back to where we were in fighting criminality. And nobody is going to complain. So we will be telling all our youths everywhere in Southeast, whatever are your grievances, come, let us reason together. Even God Almighty says that you should come with your positions, you should come with your complaints, and let's reason together. So we'll be asking them, let us reason together. You can't be more Catholic than Pope. You can't shave our heads in absence. Whatever is your problems, let us understand with you. If the problem is unemployment, you have nothing doing, we are going to leave every other thing to make sure that you are empowered, And we've been empowering our youth, The only thing is that when you are in the bush, we don't have access to you. So you have to come out of the bush and they work with us to empower you. But when you say no, that you will go in the name of agitation to cause criminality, we will isolate you as a criminal. And this is where we are, and we are very serious about it. Any day anybody says sit at home, people are not sitting at home out of obedience or compliance. People are sitting at home because of fear for their lives. If you have a policeman, to everybody, nobody is going to, obey any sit at home. Nobody is going to obey that. So we are going to do what we've been doing to safeguard the lives of our people, because we've gotten the confidence of our people that these people do not mean well for us, and that you cannot have Biafra by the way they're going about it. Meanwhile, every elite in Southeast is not desirous of Biafra. We don't want Biafra. We want to be treated equally like other regions in Nigeria. So this idea of Biafra is madness, and we have said, no, we don't want Biafra. And it's because, according to our leaders, that we are not being equally treated, that gave rise to this loophole, and people began to work on our psyche, and they began to form these agitation groups. So this is what we intend to do.
Well, it turns out that the separationist groups are not just in the Southeast, they're equally in the South, and who knows where else you could hear some of these matters. And so there's a fundamental challenge that needs to be addressed by governments, such that these kind of matters, the reason, for which they come up in the first place, are addressed. That perhaps those might just become history if they are. But the forum equally referenced Ibubagu again. So what exactly is the current situation with that?
Before I say that, let me talk about other agitation groups from other regions. Let me say that I don't truly believe in those people that I don't mind being castigated, but the truth is that we are being given a push through pretentious, agitation, so that we will continue to, fire on, because if we go our separate ways, the Southeast people will lose a lot. We've invested a lot in every part of this nation. And so it is not to advantage, to leave our investment and then walk away. And so we are being prompted, to, a kind of say, look, oh, the other people that are agitating to have a nation of their own. Those people are at advantage because we've invested heavily. And the tendency is that if this thing happens, we're going to leave our investment and walk away. We did that before during the Civil War. We do not intend to do that, again. But there's nothing bad in, fighting to be recognized, in fighting to be treated like others, in fighting to have a united, equitable nation, Nigeria. We are better and we are bigger when we are together, and I believe that we will achieve that, not through hate speeches, not through insults to governors or to Mr. President. It can never come true. If I'm a governor and you are insulting me, you believe that I'm going to address, whatever, I forgot to do for you or whatever are your challenges. I will do that. But if you approach me in a simple way, you criticize me constructively, then I will be able to do that, But to insult me and castigate me and say all manner of things that are not, even the truth, there's no leader that will be happy, about that. On the issue of Ebubago, I think this Ebubago have been a vigilante, and through the act of the House of Assembly, they are turned into what our people want, and that's the regional security outfit, that we could name the Ebubago. I have since passed my law. My Ebubago is functional and very helpful, working hand in hand with the security agencies. In Imo State, that has happened. In Abia, I think they are the level of passing their law, but the vigilantes, don't forget, are there, they're working. I just read on news, where these hoodlums went to kill two vigilante people in one of the states of Southeast, but the police, arrested them. So it shows that they're working. It shows that they are there to protect the people. So we have given till the end of the year that other states have not passed their law to do that, and we will all come together in a regional headquarters, which is in Enugu, to launch it. But before then, all the states are giving the go-ahead by our leaders to launch the Ebubago, outfit. They are going to also be very helpful. They have not been allowed, before now to really act, but now they are going to act with the community people and with the security agencies to protect the people. The people are desirous of being protected.
Well, I'm just wondering, Your Excellency, on that matter about the approach of the populace to elected officials by way of insults, don't you think that there are those who do that because they don't know any better? For instance, several people will always refer to previous governments who were equally insulted, if not more, but they chose to handle it differently. And so if they reach out, the authorities reach out to certain persons differently, who knows, it might even end up winning them to their side, as opposed to just having that stance that, no, you can't have this kind of opinion, so if you do, you already will not have access. Can there be a change of approach on the part of leaders? Because they are supposed to approach things differently, I might add.
Again, Chamberlain, we are all leaders in our own rights. You are commanding, some sections of people. If you go to your chief executive, you have needs that everything being done in China, you do not agree with that. And there is no way that you can do everything right. But in trying to address that and you begin to insult your chief executive, I don't think he's going to listen to you. But if you approach him and say, look, A, B, C, D are not good, I'm sure he's going to listen to you. So I don't think it has to do with leaders. When you do not want to work, and again, they will ask me, where is the work? Ask governors about the attitude of some of our people towards work. And it's these people that believe that, the money belongs to them and they don't need to work to earn the money. And these are the people that are filled with bitterness, and these are the people that approach issues. But they are not a majority. They're not a majority. The only thing is that, bad words, incite so much and depend so much. But a lot of youths, a lot of people that approach, governance, with decorum, they have always gotten whatever then they, sought for. And so how we, be advising that hate speeches will further divide us. Hate speeches will not help to build the country. Not that they have no any other way. There's a saying in my play that bad words used to be in the mouth and you say the good one. If everybody should say it's mine, then there will be no nation Nigeria, there will be no world to live in. And so it is a question of, sometimes how you were brought up, and another one, the way you are filled with bitterness. For example, if somebody is very bitter with Dave Umai, the governor of Ebonyi State, maybe he didn't get one thing or the other, he will carry the same bitterness against Mr. President. Why? Because they will say that Dave Umai supports Mr. President. So that's how these things are working. The bitterness is not being on objective basis. It just most of the time on personal levels. And that, when somebody is bitter, I say, why are you bitter? May not be able to even explain. Chairman, I want you to try it and ask somebody, why are you bitter? Because everyone has got a role to play in the affairs of this nation. Everyone has got a role. Everyone has something to give. And this is very important. We need patriotism to rebuild our nation. So this is my belief.
Well, Your Excellency, one of the issues anyone would raise with you about the patriotism is the trust deficit that has depleted over the years. But just before we go, you would recall that INEC has been speaking quite significantly about their uncertainties concerning the elections in Anambra State, which is a southeast state. And they are, of course, generally quoting issue of insecurity and all of that. Is there anything, first of all, what's your take on the position of INEC? And is there anything the Southeast governors can do or are doing to stave off all of the challenges that INEC is raising?
We spoke about election in Anambra State yesterday. Unfortunately, our colleague, the governor of Anambra State, was not able to come and said was sending the deputy. We did not also see the deputy. We would have been able to evaluate, the stories we are hearing that the killings in Anambra State is, politically motivated. But on the other hand, you look at what IPOB is saying, that there should be no election in Anambra State. Two things. If there is no election and we go into a constitutional crisis, of course, the National Assembly and Mr. President are there to sort that out. But it will be a slap on the federal government because, maybe some political parties, that have seen they will not be able to win are importing people to do the killings. These were some of the reports we got yesterday, unconfirmed reports. But IPOB is positioning themselves, as the killing, agent, because they are the ones saying there will be no election. They are the ones saying if you come out, we kill you. If you be any, Nigeria plate number, we will isolate you, we kill you. So even if they are not the one killing, they have taken responsibility for the killings. And so I think that the federal government must do everything possible to show that, they are in charge and the election must hold, even if it is shifted within the limit of INEC constitutional powers, that election should hold.
Just one more thing or so before we go. When you spoke about killings and those who were apprehended being of, the same ethnic extraction, where do we place the belief or impression of Imo State Governor, who at the time said that over 70% of those who are carrying out those killings were from outside the southeast?
I accommodated that in my, comments this morning. That occasionally we've been told that politicians also import people from outside to do the killing. So it's a mixture of, political differences and then the IPOB, own position. But I continue to say, and I tell IPOB, say, look, the matter has gone beyond you. Your matter has been hijacked. but you paved the way for it to be hijacked. And so every criminal is now claiming to be IPOB and they is doing the killings. And even when you say the sit at home is suspended, has it been suspended? No. And if you say that, yes, people are not complying because of fear, are they not killings in those days of sit at home? They are killings that are burning of vehicles, which shows that IPOB is not in charge, is not in command anymore, but pure criminality, which we are going to deal with. So I agree with the governor of Imo State that some people are important to do the killings. But in my state, we don't have political killings, even though opposition may say otherwise. But from my security point of view, and of course, security agencies are there to get. So what we have had in the past has been us killing ourselves, which God has had to stop. And we're grateful to God. So that's my position about it.
All right, then, Your Excellency Dave Umahi, Governor of Ebonyi State and Chairman Southeast Governors Forum, thank you for talking to us today on the program.
Thank you very much, Chamberlain.